All right, welcome back to the Steve Gruber Show as we kick off another brand new hour here of the program from the Heart of American Studio G, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom as I do every single day. Here are the three big things you need to know at this hour. Number one, a French politician says America needs to give the Statue of Liberty back to France. Karoline Levitt laughed about it, pointed out the French would be speaking German if not for the United States. Good point, Karoline. Number two, today is the day we're told 80,000 pages of documents related to the assassination of John F. Kennedy will be released more than 60 years after the killing in Dallas, Texas. Will there be anything important, and who do you believe did it? Go to the Twitter account that I have, and you might have a chance to weigh in. And number three, the Democrats are in deep trouble with American voters as they continue to find themselves on the very wrong side of pretty easy issues, like sealing the border. I mean, it's pretty easy. People want a secure border. Don't let men play in women's sports. I mean, this is not complicated. But apparently for Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Bernie Sanders, it's just too much to figure out. I mean, at least Bernie's always been a kook, right? Bernie's always been out there, far out in left field, usually forgotten about. He was so wagged out. And when it comes to tossing out of violent illegal aliens, that's also a very easy call. Democrats don't seem to understand it, though. I mean, it's an easy call. And they just don't get it. Stephen Miller, by the way, went off yesterday on rogue judges interfering with the deportation of the illegal criminal aliens. People have committed violent crimes against children, against women, against their neighbors, in our neighborhoods, and yet the Democrats can't figure it out, but Stephen Miller did. Listen.
As the Department of Justice has said in writing, nothing that the administration did conflicted with the court order. But there's a bigger issue here, which is the court order is patently unlawful, and if we got into a place in this country where district court judges could, for example, help is the wrong word, could interfere and direct specific targeting or non-targeting in, say, Houthi-controlled territory, could direct which general on the battlefield is going to be in charge of making which decisions, could direct, for example, we can send this military asset to this country, but not this country, could direct what intelligence we could share with Israel versus with Saudi Arabia. If a district court judge can be involved in the conduct of our foreign policy, under no definition do we have a democracy in this country.
So true, isn't it? So true. By the way, 1775 coffee, I'll get back to that. Love it. Yeah, Stephen Miller completely dismantling the idea that rogue district judges somewhere in America can shut down entire policies. Shut down the commander-in-chief from being the commander-in-chief. Because he took it quite a bit further with this. Listen.
The President of the United States and his administration reserve all rights under the Constitution to conduct national security operations in defense of the United States. The Alien Enemies Act, which was passed into law by the founding generation of this country, men like John Adams, was written explicitly to give the president the authority to repel an alien invasion of the United States. That is not something that a district court judge has any authority whatsoever to interfere with, to enjoin, to restrict, or to restrain any way. You can read the law yourself. There's not one clause in that law that makes it subject to judicial review, let alone district court review.
Yeah. Let alone district court review. He's exactly right. How can you run the railroad if you keep stopping the trains or saying the train has to go here to run there? A district judge does not have the power to stop the administrative branch in its tracks. This is an overreach by activist judges trying to find a place to hide, to attack, to be somebody who takes cheap shots, to be a sniper, if you will, a legal sniper. It's not going to work. It'll all get shut down. And from the mainstream media, the dumbest question of the day, when it comes to all these gang members, how do you know what a gang member is? How do you know that? I mean, seriously? I don't know. Maybe it's their job to know who the gang members are. Maybe they're professionals at arresting criminals. Did you ever think of that? Oh, these people are so stupid. Listen to this.
What criteria, though, other than, say, tattoos or maybe being in the wrong place at the wrong time, are they using to determine that someone is actually a member of one of these organizations?
Intelligence and the men and women on the ground in the interior of our country who are finally being allowed to do their jobs. Their hands were tied under the previous administration, and as I said, they take their jobs very seriously. They should be trusted and respected by the American public with this operation. And of course, as I said to Kelly, the administration will provide all details to the questions that the court poses. Jennifer.
Intelligence. You know, they do their job. They're professionals in law enforcement. How do you determine, other than tattoos or being in the wrong place at the wrong time, how do you determine who a gang member is? How do we determine that you're alive? Maybe we should take that guy's pulse to make sure he's not just a corpse sitting there because he's an idiot. I mean, a complete blathering idiot. But Democrats are in free fall. Not according to me. Well, yes, according to me. But also according to CNN. Harry Enton says it's a nightmare scenario. Worse than you could ever imagine. Here he is.
Spare all I have to say, Democrats, call your office. You know, we're March Madness times. Terrible, 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 to quote the great Charles Barkley. View Democratic Party favorably. CNN SRS, look at this, 29%. NBC News, you want to go lower than that? How about 27%? Both are record lows, the lowest going back to 1992 in CNN polling, the lowest going back on record to 1990 in NBC News polling. The majority of Americans hold an unfavorable or negative view of the Democratic Party at this point. All I can say is I'm a big fan of the oldies, so I'm going to quote Chubby Checker, how low can you go?
Nice. Well done. With that, what about congressional Democrats specifically?
Yeah, what about congressional Democrats specifically? You think these numbers are low. How about this one? Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove, 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how Democratic voters feel. Get this. The plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49%, and just 40% approve. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Oh, my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
You just can't get worse than these numbers. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Harry Enton having a good time. Look, it's a bad time to be a Democrat. It's a good time to wake up with great coffee, though, and your morning deserves more than weak mass-produced coffee. You need 1775 coffee. Look, I just learned more about coffee in the last few days than I ever have. This is single-origin, high-altitude Bolivian coffee, hand-picked, roasted for bold, uncompromising flavor. It's remarkable. No chemicals, no toxins. I used to think that black coffee that was kind of oily coming out of the bag was the best way to have coffee. No. That coffee's been burned and trying to make it taste similar. Not this coffee. This is roasted by patriots for patriots. 1775coffee.com. It is spectacular coffee. It's not bitter like the left. It's bold like me. 1775coffee.com. Find out more. Use the promo code Gruber. You'll save 10% on your Morning Joe. You're going to love this. 1775coffee.com. Great folks and great coffee.
We can't see tomorrow,